Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner Podcast. Tonight, Matt and Brandon are joined by a very special guest, Utica City's own Tim Goldman.
Yes. About time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What an honor. What an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you on.
Absolutely. It is a long time coming. I mean, I know we've talked about this since like the first season. I feel like we tried, but
Yeah.
a lot of hurdles back then.
Mm-hmm.
What of us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's about time.
Tim has been gracious enough to join us tonight. He's going to be answering some questions, getting to or letting us get to know him a little bit better, who he is, not just as a soccer player, but a little bit of his soccer story.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's exciting.
But before we get into the deep dive into your background, the number one question on our list, and I'm sure it is for many fans as well. What is the origin of the headband? Was it just something for sweat? Was it looks? Were you channeling the Three Ninjas movies from the late 1980s and early 1990s?
It goes back to when I was little. Ever since I was like 8, I would rock a Nike headband. It wasn't like a Nike head tie that I have now, like the Karate Kid one, but it was just a Nike headband. And I used to have, I used to get a 2 all around, so I'd be like a bunny head basically. And me and Casey Murphy, actually our assistant coach, would rock these Nike headbands for every single game. And then when I don't know, I didn't really do it, middle school, high school. But then when I came back playing, I'm like, let's bring back the headband. Let's bring back the headband. And honestly, it's been awesome because I've been able to give so many away. There's just all the kids want them. And I'm excited for next year to hopefully get them to sell them in the team store, if possible, because.
Yeah, I think those would sell very well, given the fact that it was also catching on with some of your teammates there.
Yeah, like Isa was rocking it, and Kevin Blackwood was rocking it, which is just like you can borrow the headband, but you need to bring my energy. You need to bring my energy.
Yes.
And that was the proposal I had for them.
See, I mean, with something like that, I could absolutely see, for like the St. Patty's Day, they did green scarves the first year, they did green jerseys, green headbands. I could just see an entire arena of just green, or when we make it to the playoffs next time, just a whiteout weekend and just white headbands everywhere, and just it would just be such a sight.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. And I give them away, and then they keep coming back. So seeing the headbands in the stands every game is so cool. It's so cool.
I may not always wear mine, but I tell you what, I always have it with me.
Hey, that means a lot. That means a lot.
All right.
No, I'm glad that honestly, I'm glad that it wasn't just about sweat, because I would have been like, "Aw."
I sweat a decent amount, but like by the end of the game, those are drenched. The headbands are drenched, and I give them away to a fan. They're like, "Oh, great!" Like I can't even sign it because it's drenched in sweat. But you know what? That's the game-worn headband. I mean,
yeah,
that's how you know it's doing its job. So
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Next, if you would you share a little bit of your soccer story for those that don't know it? When you started playing, how it went through high school, college, and then how you came to the MASL.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how much time you got. I'll talk all day.
Whatever you got for us.
I grew up in Syracuse. Grew up playing club soccer here in the area. I was on a team called CNY United. Our coach was actually Pete Raymond, father of Ben Raymond, and he was our coach for a long time. Andrew Coughlin was on the team as well. Casey Murphy was on the team as well. which is really cool to be able to be, playing with them now, looking back on our history is such a cool thing. And to have their families come and, be able to interact is really special. But yeah, I grew up in Baldwinsville, and then in 6th grade, I made the school change to a private school called Manlius Pebble Hill, which I actually recently took a job at. But I played there. I played club soccer till junior year, and then I quit because I actually was a little, I was over it, and I wanted to do other sports in high school. Didn't get recruited to one college whatsoever for soccer because I was just playing high school ball. But I knew I wanted to go to Ithaca, and that they had a good Division III program. The coach never came, to see me play, but I walked on to the Ithaca team, and eventually I was starting, partway through my freshman year, played my sophomore year. I actually got the chance to study abroad in London, and I loved the big city, so I transferred to NYU in New York City. I walked on to that team as well. Obviously, it helped that I, had played at Ithaca. But I played 1 year at NYU, which was fun. Our conference was all over the country, actually. So it was like a lot of flights. So it felt like D1 budget, D3 soccer. But I played my junior year there, and then I actually got kind of screwed on internship credits. So I couldn't play my senior year of college, which is kind of tough. But instead, I interned with the New York Red Bulls of Major League Soccer, which was such an unbelievable experience because, at the time, Thierry Henry was playing there. I'm a lifelong Arsenal fan, and he is an absolute icon. So to be able to interact with him kind of on a daily basis was super cool. So I interned at the New York Red Bulls, and then I actually got, I moved from New York Red Bulls to New York City Football Club, which is another Major League Soccer team, and I interned with them for their inaugural season, which is really cool because it was games out of Yankee Stadium, and they just signed a bunch of icons in soccer. They signed Andrea Pirlo, David Villa, Frank Lampard, soccer superstars. So that was really cool. And I kind of had to put a pause on the playing career at that point and focus on a job post-grad. And so after, I didn't play, I didn't play from age 21 to age 27, kind of here on and off. I was pursuing goals in the sports industry. So I'll keep going on the story. After I graduated, I moved out to Colorado. I worked for the U.S. Olympic Committee out there. I interned with them, and I interned with USA Wrestling as well. I had no idea on wrestling, to be honest. That was my way in, but it's like Olympic wrestling, and so I learned a lot about wrestling. I don't have the body of a wrestler, but I got on the mat a couple times. But yeah, I lived in Colorado Springs, working for the Olympic Committee for about a year and a half, and then I moved on to U.S. Soccer in Chicago, working in their referee department, and then helping out with women's national team, men's national team, development academy, just kind of events across the federation. And I worked there 2 years before moving home to Syracuse.
Okay.
Short story. Yeah.
That's a lot.
There's a lot to unpack there. But that was my playing career path, and I can go more into about my rookie season in the NSL, and then obviously the second season as well. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. Wow, you had a heck of a run before we even met you. Jeez.
Exactly. I mean, there's a backstory, obviously, of why I came home and why I started playing. And
yeah. Wow, that is awesome. That's a crazy story.
There's different Tim Goldman chapters for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh
cool.
man,
You mentioned the Red Bulls because my younger brother is a huge Red Bulls fan, and Thierry Henry and Bradley Wright Phillips were his two favorite players. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got the chance. My mom actually just came and brought me these. This is a picture of me and my brother just rocking those headbands. And then this one is tough for my integrity because once this is out, it's out there. But this is me and Ben Raymond at a tournament. I'm not exactly certain where, but check out the blue hair.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I'm doing with my hand, but it's now that's out there. The internet has seen that now, which is exciting. Thanks, Mom.
You're gonna have to text Ben and give him a warning.
That's
You
what
might get some questions.
I mean, he is cheesing in this photo. He's cheesing.
Oh, that's so good. That is great. I'm so glad that this one's. I'm glad we have picture for this one.
Hey, without it's just audio. We don't get that moment. We don't get that.
Well, no. See, we would have gotten it, but
Yes.
now everybody gets it.
The general public. That's exactly.
Oh,
Where do you want to go from here?
Well, let's talk about the difference between your rookie season and your sophomore season. Your first year, you didn't really get to play a lot. You scored 1 goal, which came with less than a second left, rolling on the turf,
taking a nap.
as it was described. This year, you had a much bigger season. You started some games. You had your first career hat trick, first career assists. You also became a bit of a pest to opposing defenders.
Definitely.
Drew Ruggles definitely didn't seem to like you that much.
I can name the players that don't like me in this league. That's a lengthy list at this point.
So I guess the question is, how did things change from that first year to this year for you as your role? And did the year off affect things for you?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to unpack there. I'll start with just telling you how I got even involved with Utica City. So I moved home in April of 2019 from Chicago to Syracuse because my father got very sick. He had a glioblastoma, which is an aggressive brain cancer. So I quit my job in Chicago and moved home. And I actually, right when I moved home in April, a couple of my buddies were playing for a team called Utica City Football Club, and they invited me to game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs between Baltimore, and it was that game was a whiteout, and I had seats way up top, and seeing that crowd and seeing that game, I was like, I will do absolutely anything to be involved with this team. And at that point, I didn't really have any plan. I didn't have any direction of what I was going to do. I got a general time frame of kind of my dad's illness, but I knew I wanted to be here in the area and be there for family. So I actually I moved home and I took a bunch of different coaching jobs, just trying to get my name out there a lot. And I took a job with Ben Raymond at the CNY Family Sports Center, where we train. Benny and his dad took a chance on me and let me work there as a tournament director. And then Benny, I slowly started to meet some of the guys on the team. I met Nate Bordeaux. I met Darren Toby because they're at the soccer center a lot. And so I started to network in the Syracuse area. Eventually, I got to meet Coach Hall, and I got an invite to they kind of held like a little invite only combine to see if there's some players that were available to train for the season or maybe to sign if they were good enough. So I went to that. I earned a spot in preseason. And from there, I actually played in that first game. We played against Team Canada, I want to say, in that first friendly.
Yes. Yep.
But I busted my butt in that game, tried to bring as much value as I could, and I convinced the architect, Tommy Tanner, to take a chance on me. and they signed me to a contract. But obviously at year one, I was very new to the game. Tommy said it takes 3 full seasons, like 100 games to truly understand indoor. So that year one was a blur. But for me, it was mainly showing up to training and giving my all, and trying to make it tougher on them to leave me off the roster.
Yep.
Which you can't really expect to play a ton in year one. Special shout out to the Rochester Lancers for giving me an opportunity to play. I saw Rochester, I'm like, oh, I got a chance at that one. So I maybe played, I don't actually know my stats, but I think I played in maybe 10 games as a rookie. And I got that really special opportunity to play Rochester at home, where I got to start the game. Nate Bordeaux gave me his captain's armband. Matt Huber, gave up his seats so my parents could sit front row. And it's the most special day in my life, 100%, is starting a game at the Odd, playing in front of my dad again, and then scoring the goal at the end. Like, I couldn't have wrote a better story. And Coach Hall was so mad because with like 2 minutes to go, he comes over and he's like, Timmy, you have to score. This is your day. You have to score. And then like we get like a top of the box or something like that. And I'm like on the left, like ready to shoot. And I pass it up. And they're so mad that I pass it up. But then I dribbles out of bounds. And then, me and Nate just have a special connection. Like, I think you saw it on the field this year. We're able to find each other on the field. And it's a lot about what we did in the COVID year. So, obviously we didn't play, for, I don't know, what was it, 20 months, something like that.
Something around there, yeah.
When there's 7 teams that ultimately ended up playing, we thought we were still going to play. It was very unclear about whether we were going to be involved or not. And so we were training as if we were playing. So all throughout that spring, summer, and even into the fall, I was training with Nate. I was training with Darren Toby and a couple other, Benny, some of the other local guys. We were playing 2v2, 3v3, and that's where I really became much better, because that is the game. It's a bunch of 1v1 matchups, 2v2 matchups, 2v1s, 3v2s. They're all over the field. And so us playing small-sided and just, Nate and Toby are such good role models and mentors to me, throughout the last 2 years. And they don't speak often, but when they do, you listen, because they have immense experience in the league, and you can see how much we missed Darren Toby this year. He's such a pivotal member of our team, and just bringing some composure on the field. And so we are very much hoping that he will return next year, because we're a different team with him. But besides that, I thought Nate had a career year. I think he's definitely the MVP of our team. He was just so consistent. Exactly what you were getting out of every game, which is he's going to bust his butt. And technically, he's just so clean on the ball. He's listening to shout out to you, Nate. The kid. But yeah, he really helped me through that COVID year, and in training. And then I just trained every day. I worked out and I ran every day for a long time. I would run up so I would come here during the day and help my mom with my dad. But then at night, I would go back to my apartment downtown and I would run. I would do these night runs in Syracuse, which, we're a relatively safe city. And I'm like pulling lengthy. So as long as you keep moving, like I'm going to be fine running at night. But I used to run up near the hospitals in Syracuse, up by Upstate and Krause, because there's a bunch of hills. So I would run all around the city. I'd run around Syracuse University. And I did that pretty much every night for months. So between that and training in the mornings with Nate and Toby, I came into preseason this year much fitter, much cleaner on the ball, and ready to make a bigger impact than I did in year one. But it's all, for me, it was all about staying patient, working hard, and developing discipline. Not always focusing kind of on the results of whether I played or didn't, but just focusing on the process in terms of I'm not going anywhere. I want to play this for as long as I can. Don't get discouraged. Early in your career, opportunities are going to come, and then it comes down to will you take those opportunities? And I got an opportunity. I think my first real big opportunity was in Florida. I think it was in Florida when we played away. We played those 2 games down there. I didn't play in the first game, but I was the D runner in that second game, and I was able to make an impact in my time on the field. And that's really how you learn the game, is to start as a D runner and focus on the defensive side of the ball first before you worry about attacking. So for a couple of games there, I was the D runner out in San Diego, and when we played in Ontario, and then I'm trying to think when I really started playing in 2s and 3s, but I'm not exactly certain. But that's that Florida trip is where I really started to make my mark, and I think the coaching staff and Tommy realizing that I can contribute to this team on the field. Yeah.
And you definitely did. I mean, Matt, I don't know if you had looked it up, but I got curious. I think I beat you to it. So, I mean, looking at your first season, I mean, you only played 13 games. Of course, had the 1 goal, and this season you had 19 games with 7 goals. So, I mean, huge step up just on the field. I mean,
I think in year 1 though, like 10 games played, but like maybe like 30 minutes on the field, like in terms of like it was bit part here and there. But this year, obviously a drastic increase in minutes played, which is awesome.
I was, and I think Matt, shares this opinion that, you earned that time on the field 100% this season. I mean, every time we saw you on the field, it was either making opportunities or being a pest, as Matt put it. I mean, making opportunities happen, and that's really what we needed this season. So it was.
I remember that Ontario Fury game. That's where I really started being that's where I really started being a pest. I think it was like I remember Moy went down. I think it was like in the 3rd quarter, and like Hawley looked down the bench, and he's like, "Oh, don't have much down there. We gotta put Goldman in. We have no one else. We have no one else." And then, I was able to have an impact in that game. We ultimately lost, but I think the crowd in that game kind of went from, thinking that we were not going to win a game for the rest of the year to having a little belief in us in that game. I think that was one of the turning points of our season.
Yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster season, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was just as difficult behind the scenes, if not more, obviously more difficult behind the scenes. And even though there weren't as many highs as we hoped for this season, is there a single moment or a game from this season that sticks with you the most?
I think for me personally, I think when we went down to Harrisburg after Dom lost his grandma, I think that personally for me was a big moment because I believe I scored the hat trick in that game.
Yes, that was a short bench game. You got a hat trick.
We only had 12 guys, and we also had Drew on a set piece because we didn't really have any lefties. But at that point, we didn't have any room for error in terms of dropping points. We wouldn't even got to that last weekend if we didn't take care of business against Harrisburg 6 times. And I think at that point, there was a little desperation in the group in terms of, look, we need the result. We need all 3 points tonight. Let's get after them. And at that point, we had, obviously we had our rookie core with us. And I can't say enough about the rookies and what they did this year. It was they were thrown in, based on injuries and visas and all that. And, I always think there's a learning curve first couple of games, but like by the end of the season, they were fantastic. Like Ronaldinho, like one of the most improved players in the MSL. He went from, not having a lot of confidence in games to at the end, he was putting up points left and right.
A few of those breakaways towards the end of the season, man, the speed, the control. Oh, it was amazing.
He's the fastest player in the league. 100%, he's the fastest player in the league. But him, Q Swift, Austin had a great year. Wanalava came in from playing outdoor to the transition to indoor. He's a workhorse. Defensively, he is fantastic. And I hope that we keep a lot of these young rookies because they're just going to learn and get better as time goes. Isak had a good year. He's obviously had to leave to go to Germany, but especially towards the end, I thought he was playing really well. And he's only going to get better with time. So, I hope we keep, I hope as a team we're able to keep these young pieces together and really see this team prosper in the next couple of years.
I know I would love to see Rafa stick around. He was another one. You and him were pests.
He's a pest.
He made so many steals just being a pest. It worked.
A massive goal against San Diego where he was just like right in his face. And that's what you need defensively out of every single player is the ability to go and press other players and make it difficult for them. When we're 5-10 yards off players, that's when they can pick out passes and be dangerous. But it comes down to work rate and your ability and how fit you are and your ability to defend. And that's something that towards the end of the season we did a much better job than earlier in the season. I think you guys can tell that.
Oh yeah. I do just want to say one thing about that Harrisburg game. First of all, how come you couldn't have done that at home? Get your first one at home.
I like playing at the farm show. I don't know. It's something about the farm show. I enjoy playing. And it was funny because that game I started my signature owl celebration because I don't know. I was like, that's when I was still wearing the tights kind of and the headband. Yep. And I got chirped by someone in the Harrisburg crowd. They're like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" And I'm like, "What can I do here?" And I'm a big owl guy. I don't know if you guys have seen. You've probably seen the Science with the Sensei show. I got Ozzy the Owl as co-host, and I have like this necklace. I have like an owl ring. I don't know if you can see this here. Whoa, the owl ring. So I mean, that's where I came up with the ooh. So, that was my celebration for part of the year. And I don't know if I'll keep it moving forward, but, honestly, the best celebrations in the league, I don't know if you've seen Tavoy Morgan. He's got unbelievable celebrations. It's fantastic. They're not that long, but he's got like 3 to 4 seconds of just rhythm. He's got rhythm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
MVP. I'll say it on record. I think that him, I mean, Ian Bennett had a fantastic year, and no way Milwaukee would be anywhere close to the playoffs without his contribution. But Tavoy is just fantastic. I think he's a fantastic target, and I watch him a lot. Obviously, we have different kind of body types in terms of he is a little stronger than me, but I try to take tips from him. His movement off the ball and his ability to get in good scoring positions is really good. It's fantastic.
Well, I guess that makes a nice segue into another question we had because you actually nailed one that Brandon had for you about where the new goal celebration came from.
I knew it was coming. Also, I'm sorry I talk so much.
No, don't. It's all good.
I mean, you can see I'm passionate about the sport. I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, you can tell you're not just someone that plays the sport, but you're also a fan of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And besides Tavoy Morgan, do you have any other players that you enjoy watching? Like top 5 in the league?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, watching San Diego play is is really fun because they have weapons. All 16 players are absolutely quality. So like watching Escoto and the way he uses body feints to beat you 1v1 is I enjoy watching him play. I enjoy watching Charlie Gonzalez play. Leo on San Diego, it's like impossible to get the ball off him. The ball just is glued to his foot. Ontario, obviously, I enjoy watching Frank Taillou play. Justin Stinson is a really tricky player, one of the trickiest players in the league. Trying to think, Chihuahua's got great players too. We didn't get to see all of them because they obviously didn't bring their whole crew down. But watching them play they have such a unique style of play where it's up and down, and I don't know how many shots they have per game, but it's crazy. And their movement's really good. They're constantly moving. Tacoma, I'm just going through every team. Like I like Nick Pereira. I like Nick Pereira. He's an awesome forward. Dallas, Luis Morales had an unbelievable season. It's fun to watch Jamie Lovegrove play. Kansas City, they have a rookie, Fetsane, who had an absolute rocket last night. He should win. It's between him and Luis Morales, I think, on who wins Rookie of the Year. But I know Leo Gibson is like a timeless wonder. Like I think he could score goals for the next 15 years. I love watching James Togba play. I'm sad that he's not on Utica anymore. But I think he's got a good thing going in Kansas City. And then Milwaukee, Leite and Bennett. Obviously, I enjoy watching. In division though, it's tough. Harrisburg has one really good player. I like watching Chavez, who had a really good season. I think he scored a couple on us. He's a very good player. And then I enjoy seeing Willie B. He's very animated in the way he plays, very similar to me. And I think he's a really good young goalkeeper in this world, in this league. Baltimore, don't have many friends on Baltimore, I'm gonna tell you that.
We'll pass that one over. We'll pass that one over.
We'll pass that one. And then Florida, I like watching Ricky play, Ricky Dieguez. I think he's a really good target, and I'm happy that he's able to play and not have these issues as much as he's a competitor of ours. He's a really good human being. So I'm excited to see him. They're still going, and I think it's going to be a really good game between them and the Comets. I think I don't know if you're going to predictions. If we're going to predictions in a little, but I think Florida's got that one. I do.
We'll get there.
Yeah. I'll save it for that.
I will say, talking about real quick, talking about Chihuahua, I did check it out for the Baltimore game that they just played. And when I watched that one until about the half, and then I was like, I got to go to bed. But they had roughly about 20 some odd shots on goal for the first half. They doubled it. They ended up with 44 official ones, which is, they outshot Baltimore 15-44, which is crazy how many shots on goal they just throw at you.
Got to shoot to score.
Yeah.
They're a very fast-paced team. And because they play on that smaller field at home, like Baltimore, as soon as they're past midfield, they can just rip it.
They're going to shoot. And you can't make any mistakes on those fields. And we ran into trouble in Baltimore with not being clean enough on the ball. And teams like Baltimore, especially with the experience they have, they'll make you pay. Yep. Very meticulous in the way they play.
Next year we beat them. Next year.
It fuels all of us, the fact that we went 0-6 against them this year. That's just simply not good enough. A team in conference, we at least need to split our home games for sure.
Yeah.
So that's one that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, since we don't have the the crosstown rivals, as you will, if you will, with Rochester, then it kind of falls to Baltimore, and then it hurts when they sweep you. Like, it was cool. It was cool that we were able to sweep Harrisburg. Like, that felt good. And then when we got swept by Baltimore, that hurt. a lot.
Yeah, they cancel out. But I'm excited to see how the league restructures next year with the 2 additional teams and how many games we're playing against certain opponents.
Yep.
Yeah, I made a proposal on that in the box. Someone was just, what's one change that you would like the league to make that makes sense? And I was like, well, split it East and West, 7 teams each. I loved seeing the cross country this year, but I know travel costs are a big thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I also hate seeing teams 6 times.
Too many.
So if you go 7 in each conference, you can play every team in the conference 4 times. There's your 24 games.
Yep.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah. That old keep it simple, stupid kind of mentality.
Yeah, I mean that's much. If you're only playing 4 times, that's much better from a fan perspective.
Yeah.
You want more teams. You want to see more teams. It's so cool that like Chihuahua and Tacoma and San Diego could come this year. I think that from a fan perspective, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that each one of those games, even the San Diego one, I mean, that was one that stands out in my mind for the entire year. I mean, you guys played out of your minds in that game, and the crowd was, it was electric in that place. It doesn't matter that we lost. I mean, you heard I know you guys heard the chants after the game. I mean, that was just like, we were just like, no, there is no feeling bad about this game. You guys get up and hold your heads high, because that was a hell of an effort.
Yeah, I mean, I'll remember that game for a long time. I will remember the first shift actually for a long time, because I remember I was on at the beginning and it was a 4-minute shift that they ended up scoring on. And looking back at it, I'm like, wow, I should have kicked the ball out of bounds or somehow found a way to get off the field. But at that point in the game, I'm like, we're going to have to work for 60 minutes if we stand a chance against these guys, because they're so clean on the ball and they're tough to break out against.
Yep.
But yeah, that San Diego game was awesome. I think for the fans and for us, and really just fueled our belief that we can play against any team in the league. And I think that helped in the run-in, Florida, Tacoma, Chihuahua.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it definitely helped. It definitely rekindled the flame for the fans, for sure. I mean, I know there was a lot of people doubting. Even I think I can at least speak for us, where of course we had our doubts at that point in the season. It had been a rough season, but that game in particular just really rekindled the flame. It didn't even matter. Like I said, didn't even matter that we lost, but it was just such a spectacle.
And I've never been in a place where they chant, your team's name after a loss. That's just that's unheard of, but that's Utica, and that's why we all love the team.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the loudest I'd heard the odds since the playoff game 2 years prior, when fans were booing, not because of the loss, but because after the final whistle had sounded, Bo and one of the Harrisburg guys, I forget, I think it might have been, I'm drawing a blank on his name so badly right now.
Harrisburg or Baltimore?
Baltimore.
I was going to say
Dos Santos, probably. Right?
No, I don't think it was Dos Santos. Kita, maybe?
Kita?
We're getting into it and almost threw down after the mini game.
It wasn't like a Harrisburg throwdown.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much history too between the teams. Obviously, Syracuse Silver Knights and Baltimore, and us as a team never really getting over Baltimore in the playoffs. Like there's history, and we have yet to beat them when it really matters. I think, and that's just fuels our fire. It fuels the fire.
Next year it happens.
Season's right around the corner. Couldn't be soon.
I keep saying next year, but it's really this year. It's only 8 months.
7.5 months away.
Yeah, something like that.
It's more time to train.
Yep.
Okay, so we know technically once the playoffs end, you'll be a free agent. We're going to operate under the assumption that you're going to be brought back. Fingers crossed.
You're listening, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. I know we joked about rioting because if they never brought us Comet, the puppy, but I think the fans would riot if they don't bring back Tim Goldman.
Oh, it would be a madhouse.
I don't know what I would do in my life. I don't know what I would do. I don't know. Yeah, and I've structured my life where I have availability in the spring now, in the winter spring, with my new job. So it's just about finding the right deal, and I'm not going anywhere. I don't know. I don't think I would play for another team in the league. Couldn't do that. Couldn't do that to Utica. Couldn't do that to you guys.
Nowhere else is exciting. I mean, nowhere else is as exciting as Utica.
There's no team like it in the league in terms of fan atmosphere and arena, and there's nothing like it in the league. I don't know. There might be teams that have better attendance than us, but in terms of atmosphere, in terms of our arena, nothing can beat it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, small arena really helps 3,000 sound like 30,000.
Yeah, where like Milwaukee has, they might get 5,000, but it's this 10,000 seat stadium, so it's not the same.
Yeah.
So assuming you're brought back, who is the one player in the league that you would like to see brought in and make your sales pitch to them?
Wow. I always think for 1 second. Based on our team's current needs, and I don't know the roster for next year and who will be brought back.
I don't know who's going to be a free agent. This could also be a pitch to Tommy to be like, look, just do whatever it takes behind the scenes. Let's get this trade through.
I think we could use a target forward. I say that and I'm target forward, which is tough. But in theory, I think we need a big target, especially if Bo will continue to play defense for future years. I think a target like either Ricky Diegas, who we had, or Ian Bennett. Like, I think Ian Bennett, even at his age of, I believe he's 36, 35. Sorry, Ian. The fact that he can put up the numbers he put up this year, and if you watch him on the field, he's absolutely flying, buzzing around.
Yeah.
I think he could light up the odd. And Ian, if you're listening to this, make the deal. Make the deal. Come to Utica. It's also tough because players have lives in the cities that they live in.
Yeah,
of course.
That's the tough pitch to bring an out-of-towner here for 4 or 5 months. Are you going to pay them enough to leave behind whatever they have in their city?
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be Ian Bennett or Tavoy Morgan. Come on over to Utica and let's bang in the goals ASAP.
All right. Well, Ian Bennett,
2 players.
is 38.
He's 38. Ian Bennett's 38.
He will be 39 by the time the season starts.
Guy plays like he's a 25-year-old.
I was gonna say plays like half that age. Wow.
And that's like testament to him taking care of his body. And he's got a crazy training regimen and I'm crazy diet. But that's how you're able to sustain that success. And he's been doing it for a long time, consistent every year. And that's what we need too. Is a consistent goal scorer that's going to score 40 goals. And if you look at the points for our team this season, I bet probably Joey or Nate had the most, probably close to like 30. But we need someone that is going to bang in goals and get over that 40 mark.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of those things that. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you.
No, I'm saying it's not me. I'm not the 40 goal scorer. Not yet. I'm working on it, but no.
Well, I mean, I wish we had 40 or with anybody this season. I wish we had honestly had 20 with anybody this season, at least goals. But we got real close. I mean, between Joey having 19 goals, Nate having 17, Christian having 15. I mean, you made like top 6. You tied with Quentin for the end of the season for amount of goals. So, I mean, it's a lot better than the one.
A lot better than one. I kind of beat up a little on Harrisburg there with a couple of them, but no, I mean, I thought like Joey was absolutely on fire at the end of the season. And then same with Nate, same with Christian. We raised the level because we knew that there was no room for error. We would have hated to have been mathematically eliminated from playoffs with like several games to go. There'd be a terrible feeling to have, and I think that would, attendance wouldn't have been good in those final 2 games. So despite not going through playoffs, we gave our fans hope to the very end. Even after the game, it came down to KC Dallas after, and that's the game. Sometimes you don't get the bounces, and now we have to think about it for the next how many months. What could have been. I'm pretty sure our team left points all over the place. Especially early in the season. So we really only have ourselves to blame.
Yeah, but a heck of a second half of the season though. Definitely gave everybody hope.
8-4 in the second half. And to your point about players that score 40 points or more, Utica and Harrisburg are the only 2 in the league that didn't have that, or had someone that would have been on pace for it had they played 24 games. Baltimore would have had 3 if they had played their other 3 games.
Gotcha.
But every other team in the league had at least 1. San Diego had 5, which is a testament to just how ridiculous that offense is.
Yeah, that's a good indication of what's going to happen in playoffs too.
Let me get back to the questions here. So we are heading towards the end of this. We got a few more.
Good, we just got started.
I was gonna say, this is what I was really hoping for. Is just it's sure, we talk about we go through the questions, but at the same time, it's just we're just having a good talk. I mean, that's what you aim for in this kind of thing. It's just
exactly
just having a nice conversation.
What podcasts are all about,
Exactly.
Aesthetically, let's say the biggest change this year was the long hair. Was that a conscious choice or something that just came about because of the pandemic, and then you were like, what, I like this look, I'm sticking with it?
Yeah, probably pandemic, and then I knew if I was going to truly, take this that kind of sensei headband thing seriously, like I needed some locks too, and so I'd rock like the bun. I'd rock the bun, and I don't think it's going anywhere. I think the long hair is here to stay.
Yeah,
I like it too. I feel more like a golden retriever, and that's really what I think I am in human form. Is a golden retriever in human form. Like, the ball, go get the ball, go get the ball. Yeah.
Whenever we're watching one of the games on TV at home, we've of course got the smaller Beagle, and he'll just see the ball on the screen, and I always just imagine him being like, "Ball, there's the ball, go get the ball."
Go get the ball, go get the ball. But no, I actually do have terrible running form. It's something I'm trying to correct. Like I look, when I'm running out there, I look like I'm swimming. So that's something I'm looking to fix in the off season with my trainer, is properly running. I had like a little injury at the end of the season, some tendinopathy on my hamstring, and it's due to overuse and overstretching, and it really comes down to just bad running form. And it definitely hurt me in the last month of the season, but I was able to play through it, and now I have a couple months of off season where I can correct it and make sure that next season it's not an issue. Because if you're not playing games, then you're not really helping your team, and staying fit for the entire 24 games is definitely the goal of every player. But it's tough to play a brutal sport, a very physical sport, a sport with a lot of change of direction. So muscle injuries are a little more common. And so, what you do in the off season has a big impact on your ability to stay fit in the season.
Yeah, whenever I pitch it to somebody, when they're asking, what the heck is MASL? What is indoor soccer? It's like, basically it's hockey without the ice and the pads. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it boils, and a ball, of course.
Yeah, that's a good way to pitch it to people. And I don't know, I think our game is super exciting to watch from, especially on TV. I think the Twitch thing is great for us. I think it's going to get us in front of new eyes. And even looking at the numbers I don't actually know the numbers between YouTube streams and Twitch streams, but I was looking last night and there was like 1,500 people watching the stream, and there's new people on. And I like the fact that you can interact on the chat, and we have a moderator in there. And I think probably for the league, the end goal is probably to get on TV, national TV. But for now, and we're continuing to kind of be in this not grassroots, but relatively on the rise league, I think Twitch is a perfect platform for us.
Yeah.
Maybe not 4 games to go, but I think it's long term. It's a good platform for us.
No, it definitely seems to be working out.
Yeah, I think it's tough because I think some of our existing fans in the league were a little, maybe not upset, but they can't go to YouTube anymore, so they have to figure out how to get on Twitch, and can I get Twitch on my TV? And it's maybe a little tougher for the older generation. I can't, like, grandparents might have a tough time like figuring out what Twitch is, but the fact that you can log on your phone, you can log on your laptop and type it in, that makes it more accessible, I think.
Yeah, I could agree with that. It definitely is a different platform. Of course, we already talked about, Matt and I have already talked about, like, the fact that you can't get it on like Roku's, which of course is a dominant part of the net of the industry for that kind of thing, if you don't have like a regular smart TV or whatnot. But at the same time, there are ways around it.
Yeah, and if you're a diehard fan, you'll find a way to watch the game.
Smoke signals. Yeah. Get smoke signal updates.
Yeah, my biggest nitpick is just that chat takes up so much more of the bandwidth on mobile when I'm watching at work.
Yep.
So I end up watching it in like 360p. It's so.
Oh yeah.
The blue guy's got the ball. Yes. Well, you mentioned you're going to be working on your running form in the off season, doing some other fitness training. Do you have any big plans for this year's off season?
I couldn't have bigger plans. I'll go into little. Like I'm leaving for a road trip here in a couple of days to go around the domestic United States in my Jeep, connecting with old friends and colleagues. I want to go back out to Chicago, where I have friends, and Colorado, where I have friends, and I actually hope to go to the MASL finals depending on where they are. If they're in San Diego, I probably will try and go to those, and I think my buddy Ben Raymond might be joining me for that one. But besides that, I'll get home in June, spend some time at my lake house with my grandpa, and then I start kind of my new job at Manlius Pebble Hill, where I'm taking over the boys soccer program, and then I'm working part-time with alumni and admissions, helping with social media, so kind of have a bigger role over there. And I'll be doing their summer camps, and then I hope to do UCFC summer camps as well. I'm a big summer camp guy. I'm a big camp guy, so I'm excited, to continue to do that. And then, my fall will be pretty busy with coaching, and I'm excited to take over my own program and be able to make my own decisions. It's dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
I couldn't have more ideas. But I think my players are excited, and I'm already recruiting for Manlius Pebble Hill to grow it into a powerhouse, state powerhouse. The plan. That's the plan.
That's just awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring up a drill that I had told Brandon about that was a nightmare when I was playing soccer in high school.
I'll take all the recommendations.
It was a conditioning drill, and it will make your players hate you, but it will get them conditioned.
They'll love that they hate you.
It's called up the ladder, down the ladder.
Okay.
Now, you can determine the length of it, or if you want to make it a suicide version, which is even worse. It's nightmarish to the greatest degree. But what it is a series of sprints. The most common one that we did was full field, and you do one sprint on the whistle, wait for the next whistle, then you would go 3 sprints. So now you've run up and down the field 4 times. Wait for the whistle, 5. Wait for the whistle, 7. Wait for the whistle, 9. Wait for the whistle, 7. 5, 3, and 1. You do a lot of sprints really quickly, and then it's everybody go get water and catch your breath.
It's funny because I'm going to clip this from the podcast and send it to my team. And yeah, they're going to know who you are. They're going to know who you are. They're like, I hate that guy. I hate that guy.
That's when you gotta throw in the evil laugh. Just.
I mean, yeah, it's a big part. Fitness is a big part of the outdoor game. Got to play fitness.
Yeah, my junior year we went undefeated, and our coach at the beginning of the season was, we might not be the best team out there, but we will be the fittest team, and we will outlast anyone else.
Yeah, and I mean that works. You could see it in the Utica season. I mean, even like on paper, San Diego, Florida, probably better teams than us. But in those 2 games, the reason why we were able to, we lost to San Diego, but the reason we were so close is because we were going to work harder than the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On paper, you lost to San Diego. We'll pretend that the league didn't admit that there was an officiating error that gave them a goal they shouldn't have.
Big pick. I do like the show too. I saw the one that Phil Alonco runs with Ryan Siggers.
Yes, under review.
Under review.
That it's infancy. They're only a couple episodes in, but I think that's cool. And they're gonna make mistakes, but because for me it's all about consistency and
yes,
it's all saying that.
Consistency, not something we really had this season.
Yeah.
We kind of had a little bit of a. I always refer to it as the revolving door. We just people in, people out, people in, people out. Whether it's injury or otherwise, it was just somebody needs to just put a wedge in that door and just hold everybody in.
Yeah.
Which is what happened down the end. We saw a little bit less of that consistently inconsistent nature. When they stopped, well, here's an injury, let's sign this guy out of retirement, and instead it was, here's an injury, all right, rookie, let's show us what you got.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
And yeah, the model seemed to work at the end.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. We got this one, and then our playoff picks. So we've had science with Sensei. You are a MASL starting forward. You have been a pitchman for fictional products in the style of Billy Mays. You're a head coach for high school soccer.
Wow.
What is the next big pivot for Tim Goldman?
Great question. And it is, I went into it a little before, but it is, for me, it's probably the social media side and the content side. And that's something I also want to do with kind of my entertainment MC DJ company that I'm working on. I want to expand into like karaoke, trivia, bingo. I'm working with 2 nursing homes about doing karaoke at their place. And I think that would be an absolute hoot for those old people, is to come do some karaoke, especially, coming like 2 years out of COVID, like they haven't had any interaction whatsoever. So that's the other side that I want to grow, is my entertainment business. in doing events where I'm the MC, I'm the DJ. Another thing I'm working on, and it takes up a lot of my time at the moment, is I'm still involved with Make-A-Wish Foundation here in New York, where I'm on the board of trustees, and then I am a wish granter. So I've been a wish granter for the last 10 years, and at the moment I'm working on 2 wishes, but helping grant wishes for kids with critical illnesses. And it takes a decent amount of time out of my schedule, but it's something that I'm really enjoying. It's different being on a board. I've never been on a board before, and it's a lot more on the governance, legal, financial side. But I'm learning a ton. You know, I'm just like a sponge in the meetings, and I think they want to bring some youth onto the board. So I'll be on that for the next 2 years. So that's something that I'll continue to do, and I hope to help them a little more on the event side and creating awesome events where people will come and donate. But between that, you know, the board and my aspiring MC DJ business, that's kind of the next, and starting to develop content for myself. That's kind of the next projects that I'm working on.
Wow, you certainly sound like you got your hands full in these next couple of years.
Next couple of years, but I'm all doing stuff that I'm passionate about. So it doesn't even seem like work. You know, like the Utica job is like, I'm just in my element. Like it's all, now that I know like that I can play in this league, it keeps me up at night. Like it's all I'm thinking about. And like, there's a bunch of guys in our team with similar outlooks, and it's exciting. Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh when you said you haven't been on a board before. I'm like, no, but you have been over a board. We have seen that.
A tumble in Harrisburg over the board, which like I don't know if that's happened in a long time in the league. I don't know. I watch a lot of games and I've never seen that. But in the I just took the contact and I hit the not even the turf. I hit the ground, which is like a gravelly dirt.
Yeah.
In Harrisburg.
Harrisburg and boards. Boy, do we have a story about those, don't we, Brandon?
I was like, as soon as you said as soon as Timmy said it, we hadn't seen it in a while. I was like, oh, Matt, you can have that one. We have one.
What's the story?
So, Utica's first year in the league. Anyone that's listened to the pod has heard us. If you've caught every episode, you've probably heard us tell this story 3 times now, at least.
Time coming.
And Salas gets fouled into the boards and takes a tumble over him, much like you did. Face first into the dirt. Hall is screaming from the bench, wanting to know what's up. This is our first road trip we've taken. First time that Brandon, Michelle, myself, and a bunch of other Utica fans made the trip down 81 into Harrisburg.
Yep. Loudest in the arena. Just want to point that out.
It's more like a home game for us.
We're trying.
It was something. There's no call. Hall's upset. Tommy's up in the stands behind us a ways. He's also upset. Quarter ends. Hall gets the explanation from the officials on what happened and why there was no call. And we only know what that explanation was because he shouted it up to Tommy Tanner. And the ruling was that Salas self-propelled himself over the boards to make it look like a foul. Like, this was before the embellishing call was in the rule book.
Yeah.
So they're just like, it was a flop, nothing to it.
Self-propelling. That's
yes.
I mean, there may have been there was some contact in mind, but there also maybe was a little hint of self-propellation.
Well, time passes and Freddie Mugen gets called for a blue card. He's trying to clear a defender off his back. and just swats him and catches him right in the face. And I maybe had felt that the foul against Salas deserved a blue card. And if you know me, I heckle just a little bit.
There's the peanut gallery.
Yeah. But they pulled the blue card out, and we're, first row, second row, something like that. So we're not far. There's not a lot of people. You can clearly hear me on the turf. And I'm just, no. He self-propelled himself into the hand. I'm too focused on what's going on. I'm only hearing about this after the fact, but Michelle lets me know that she looks over at the bench. Ryan Hall is doubled over, trying not to laugh out loud over this.
Oh, it was so funny. It was hilarious. It's just the whole series of events and how they unfolded. It was fantastic. A memory that will stay with me for forever.
Yeah. We gotta get you guys back to the Harrisburg game. It's not
a trip down again.
Yeah, it's an interesting place to see a game. Interesting place to see a game. They have nice fans. I will say that I've met some of their fans, the 3 times I went, and they were all very, very nice people.
Yeah, next year I think we need to make some plans.
It's 4 hours, so not terrible. Definitely easier when we have like Rochester in the league. Like that's an easy way. And when in that first season, we almost had more Utica fans in Rochester for those games.
Yeah, that was a nice little road trip.
I know the big draw for the league is, put it on the weekend, but I like watching the game as many nights a week as I can. Yeah. So that's why Tuesday night I was like, yeah, I'm going to be in Ontario, California. And we got the Wednesday home game I was able to make. Yeah. I'll take a road trip in the middle of the week if I can. It doesn't bother me.
And honestly, seeing you take that road trip to Ontario, for us, seeing you in the crowd just makes us that more amped to play. The fact that you would spend your own money to come all the way out across the country to come see us play, just it means a lot. It means a lot, and it's unique. And I don't think a lot of teams have fans that are as dedicated as you guys are, and that's what makes the league and our team special, I think.
Wow, we greatly appreciate that.
I was gonna say I can't take any credit. That's all Matt.
Yeah, that Ontario game, I also thought I got yelled at by the ref.
You guys had good seats. You were right behind the bench, right?
Yeah. He was. Brian Miller got into it with Tommy Tanner, and both myself and Matt Huber thought he was yelling at me. He kind of turned and was like, "Hey, that's enough. Effing knock it off." And we're like, "Whoa, can you yell at the fans?"
No.
That was a dark game. Once sports happened, that was a dark game.
We'll pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It was one of the lows of this season for sure. Was that fixture?
Yeah, I was sleep deprived, and I was like, you know what? If it's close, and these guys say that they're going out to the bar, I'll happily join them and buy a round. And then it went the way it did, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm going back to the hotel because I've been there on a losing game where it goes very bad for you, and you don't want to talk. You just. Yeah.
That's one of those games.
Yeah. It's hard to watch. I can only imagine what it was like being there and playing in it.
And
I just blamed Huber because everything fell apart in the third quarter when he got to go up to the booth and they weren't able to get a media pass for me.
Did you ever get picked up by I think you were saying you were getting picked up by the mascot. Did that ever happen?
No, it didn't. He did come over and console me. He patted me on the back and was like, there.
Come on, Striker. We're calling you out, Striker. Pick up my boy Matt in the airport. It's funny.
The airport would have been very confused because when I rented my car, the gentleman behind the counter asked what I was doing in town. And I'm like, I'm just here for the night, going to catch a game. Oh, what game? Ontario Fury, Utica. He goes, what's the Ontario Fury? I'm like, you are a mile from the arena. How do you not know what this is?
Tough. Yeah, that's on the team though. It's on the team to market it to everyone. You know? There should be plastered all over that airport. Come to Fury games.
Yeah, that would make a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice weather. I mean, yeah, nice weather out there.
Beautiful arena, beautiful area. The mountains looked great. I would have loved to get more time to explore them, but
as we're pitching Ontario, don't go to Ontario. Just come to Utica. Just come to Utica.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you guys listen.
You will know about the team if you're in Utica, because I mean, you know, we have. That's one thing that I will say is that, you know, in this area, I mean, most likely, at least in the Utica area, I feel like if you ask people about, you know, sports teams, Comets, Utica City FC, I mean, I could see people actually knowing about it, given, you know, the fact that they have, you know, the team actually has a presence in this area, even for its short time being here. You know, yes, we had the Silver Knights, but I mean, I'll be frank, I didn't know about it until, you know, they became Utica. I had no idea. I didn't know this sport existed. So, you know, it's been a trip.
And I think it's only going to get bigger in Utica, to be honest. Like, you look at what they're doing with the Nexus Center, I think that area in Utica is really going to take off. And I think you'll see more and more involvement from us in the community as we transition more to Utica. You know, with that Nexus Center, I think, you know, the ultimate goal is for us to train there and to live there. And, you know, a bunch of us are local to Syracuse, and a lot of us have jobs in Syracuse. But, you know, for the guys that are brought in from out of town, you know, I think they'll be in Utica, and I think that's great for our brand long term.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Syracuse, it's a 45, 50-minute drive down the throughway.
Yeah, we'll get a nice little carpool going, you know? It's exciting.
All right, who's picking up, Jake?
And then get a team bus, and then get a team bus for road trips to send the fans on, too.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. I think that's something that they used to do way back with the Syracuse Silver Knights, is they would do fan buses to away games, and I think that's brilliant. I think that's awesome. That's a cool experience for the fan. They don't have to worry about driving, and they can have a good time. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, especially if you got like a Saturday or Sunday road game. Like, I think you could fill a bus pretty easily.
For sure. Oh, yeah. With our fans, you could definitely get enough fans to go. I challenge you, make it happen.
Okay. Does anybody have Rob Esch's number so I can just start spamming him?
I don't.
Hang on.
He's on Twitter, right?
I might know a guy. Hold on.
He's on Twitter, right? We'll just keep tagging him every day.
Persistence over time.
All right, this is going to bring us to the bittersweet part, because it's going to be our last thing, and it also involves the playoffs. Brandon, you went 3 for 4 in the first round.
Ooh, which one you miss?
Kansas City, Dallas. I almost had that one.
You were so close.
All Dallas had to do was that mini game.
I know.
Sorry, extra time.
A couple bounces went your way. I mean, Dallas almost snuck in there and took it.
Yep.
I do think Kansas City had a little more quality in the end, and I think they're better prepared to play against Florida. I think so.
If I'm honest, I mean, one of the main reasons we rooted for Dallas, I think for at least myself and Michelle, was, you know, because we still felt we had that attachment from when Mooj went down there. Plus, you know, she just happened to recently get a Dallas Sidekicks jersey, so, you know, we had that kind of that extra attachment to that particular team. So, of course, I picked Dallas over Kansas City. But of course, Kansas City got it done that time.
Yeah. What about you, Maddie?
I went 4 for 4.
Wow. Are you guys going to tell me what your picks are for the semis?
Yes. Brandon, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Listen, you got the 4 for 4. You're the golden child. Why don't you make your picks?
All right. As much as I would like to see San Diego lose, I can't, just because I kind of put them in that Los Angeles Dodgers category where it's like you have just bought up all this talent. So now I just want to see you lose in the playoffs to make it not worth it.
Yeah.
I think they get past Chihuahua. I think it goes 3. Chihuahua forced them to overtime twice when they were down there a couple months ago.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Chihuahua can take it at home. And then for Florida KC, man, Florida, they haven't been quite the same since Vic Moraligwe got injured, and they lost. Why am I drawing a blank on the keeper's name? Hugo Silva.
Hugo Silva. There you
To
go. There you go.
visa issues.
Very good goal.
But they do still have so much offense still. And I don't know, Brandon. I wasn't all that impressed with Neto in goal last night.
No.
I'm not saying he's a bad keeper. He's still one of the better ones in this league. But he's looked off since he got injured earlier in the season. And that kind of evens that goalkeeper issue for me. Both teams did have 3 players with 40-plus point or 40-plus projected point seasons. But I have to give the edge to Florida. Just too much there.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying San Diego, Florida.
Yes, number 1, number 2. That's our finals. I think both of them go 3 games, though.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I've kind of felt from the beginning of the season, or at least I'll say the midpoint of the season, because of how, Florida had been a powerhouse for as long as they were. I mean, the goal differential they had compared to anyone else was, in our division, was crazy. I mean,
well, they got some of that beating up on us.
We won't talk about that.
What they ended, or what they are, in terms of goal differential?
I don't have it offhand, but something we can find.
Let's get that really quick.
I don't even.
I'll let you find that, Matt, while I just talk through. I mean,
right.
my picks are definitely going to be, honestly, my picks for the Ron Newman Cup are Florida and San Diego. I mean, I don't see how it could be anybody else at this point, especially this far in. But I am going to differ with you and say that I will say that I think Florida potentially goes 3. I could see Florida going 3. I see Soccer's just going in. I see them taking it in 2. I'd be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong, though, if it's a great game. Though, I mean, I would love, I love watching a really close, good game. But I could see the Soccers taking it in 2.
All right, so here is your goal differentials for the season. San Diego, unsurprisingly, led the way with 84 in favor. They actually held opponents under 100 goals scored across 24 games.
Impressive.
Only team in the league to do that. The next closest defensively would have been Baltimore at 111. So 13 goal difference, and Baltimore, well, they'd lost 3 games, so can't even really count them as that goal differential. That's skewed.
Yeah.
It'll also be a little skewed for KC because they lost a game.
Yep.
And it'll be a little skewed for Florida because they lost a game. Chihuahua has a plus 42 goal differential. Florida's is plus 59. Kansas City is plus 22. However, Chihuahua actually outscored San Diego by 3 goals on the season.
And then what is Utica?
Utica had 119 goals for, which was second worst in the league, only ahead of Harrisburg. and allowed 153, which is middle of the pack.
What I see, room for improvement. Room for
Yes.
improvement.
Yeah. 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 Let's we'll go with that.
That's all there is to be said.
Yeah. Timmy, do you have picks for the?
Yeah, and I think I got a hot take for you. I think that San Diego beat Chihuahua in 3 games. I think they just have a little more quality than Chihuahua, and I also think Chihuahua will walk around it. They had a couple guys in that initial game.
We're starting to have your audio cut in and out a little bit.
Yeah, I hear that. It's like it's echoing.
Yeah.
And now you're at.
Go.
What do we think? Is that better?
Yeah, I think you're good.
That's weird. What are you gonna do? Okay, so what else? San Diego in 3, they just have a little more. I think a little more quality in the end. They have a little more depth. Even if someone gets injured, like their San Diego 2 team, I watched them play against Cleveland, and they're class 2. Like they have reserves on reserves. So I think they have the depth to beat Chihuahua. I think Kansas City is going to pull off an upset in 3 games over Florida. I think Florida is ripe for the picking. I think, to be honest, I think that they're defensively, they're not as good as they were in previous years. And I think Kansas City has enough firepower over 3 games to get the job done. Like, I really like the target for Kansas City, Rian Marquez. I think he's an absolute handful. And they just have good, Kansas City has good players. If they can keep the ball out of the net, I think that they'll win over Florida. And then I think they don't stand a chance against San Diego. I know that they played earlier in the season. Kansas City played in San Diego, and they got beat pretty handily. But I think that is the final, and San Diego will win.
I think they were missing Leo Gibson for that road trip too. He was at home. His wife was giving birth to another child. Yeah,
and I think that they kind of hit a mid-season struggle a little in terms of they started really hot. Kansas City started really hot. They were maybe a little lethargic in the middle of the season, and they're playing pretty good ball at the end of the year. And I think that they will take down Florida. I think that I don't know. It's also I want Kansas City to advance too, because I think that they're just better run in terms of an organization. I think they have an awesome arena. I think they have an awesome production. I think they treat their players really well, and I would like to see them advance. I'm definitely not signing from Florida after saying that, though. If any Florida owners are listening, I'm sorry.
I mean, KC definitely has a very good environment. Very enjoyable broadcast. But yeah, you mentioned they got out to hot start. So they started the season 9-1. They went 4-8-1 after that, which is just hard to trust in my mind.
Yeah, I'd love to see what those games are too, because obviously they play a lot of Central Division games. It's tough. That Central Division's tough. There's not an easy game. Like Milwaukee's not easy. Dallas isn't easy. St. Louis on any day can be really good. They gave us a really good match out there. And that, I think for us, that St. Louis game was a turning point because it snapped like a big losing streak on our end. I don't know how many games we lost in a row, but that St. Louis game, I think, broke the streak.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like rooting for Florida because they're a division rival. Yeah. But Kansas City also couldn't take care of business against St. Louis in 2 games over the final weekend to send Utica to the playoffs. So I might be holding a little bit of resentment there.
That's it, yeah. Just being at the 72, watching that final game and watching KC lose the way they did was just so tough. It was out of our control. They didn't do us any favors, but the game.
Yeah. Tim, thank you so much for coming on, taking the time.
Of course, it was so much fun. We'll have to do this again some other time. I don't know. You gotta convince some of my other teammates to come on.
Yeah, you're welcome whenever. They're welcome whenever. We'd love to. We mentioned we'd love to do a series where once a month over the summer we get someone on and kind of shoot them some of the same questions. What's your story? Get to know the players more and let the fans see who's behind what it is behind just the player they see on the field. Yeah,
and I think it's so important. The job you guys are doing, just creating buzz about this team has been so big over the last 2 years. And I think we as a team can do better at telling our stories so that when we're on the field, there's more than just a guy that's earning a paycheck. You know about where they've been, what they're currently doing, how they're supporting themselves, because none of us play in this league for the money, to be honest. And so I think the fans understanding why we play is important.
Yeah, sports are so much more than just the jerseys on a guy's back.
For sure, and I think it's too because we have such a local base here, where a lot of teams in the MASL, most of them are very foreign or they bring players from all over. But I think Utica is unique because we have 10 guys that are either from this area or live in this area. So I think highlighting that is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always a good story to tell, and you never know where it's going to come from.
You never do. It's true. Very true. All right. Anything else?
Brandon, do you have anything? Oh, he's muted himself.
Oh, he muted himself.
I muted because I was afraid it was feedback for me somehow, but I was just like I left it muted for a minute. But
just smooth production up to that point, we'll give you one.
All right. So at least I got that. Everybody gets one. No, it's definitely it's been a long time coming, and it's just been I guess it's been a dream come true, having you on here, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Hope for many more years of Timmy Goldman on Utica City, so that we can hang out both on and off the field. It's been a trip, getting to know you over these couple years. So absolute pleasure having you.
Appreciate that, and I will just say it's just the start.
I like to hear.
I'll make a final pitch, and then we'll wrap this up with a farewell, and that is the World Cup is going to be in November. Just before the season starts is the first group stage. UCFC's in the area more. Bring some guys to 72. Let's get some watch parties going. I don't care that they're 2 in the afternoon games. If I can make it, I will make it.
That'd be phenomenal. I would love that. And honestly, the World Cup will go for, into the season. Mm-hmm. I think it's smart for the team and for 72 to maximize that as much as we can. Yeah, I'm down. You got a tentative from me.
There we go.
Perfect.
Hey, there you go, UCFC fans. A potential meet and greet with Tim Goldman.
They better sign me. They better sign me now. We're putting that out there.
But Timmy, thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Let's chat soon, all right? Miss you guys.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a plan.
Enjoy your road trip. Stay safe. Don't spend too much on gas money.
It's impossible. I'm going to run out of money by Rochester. It's tough. Yeah, but it's been long overdue, so I'm excited to travel, and I'll keep you guys updated on my latest travels.
Looking
Yes,
forward
pictures.
Pictures. Well, all right, guys.
to it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you to
And
everyone
then-
for listening. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.